Well, for more on this, we can cross to Rome and speak now with France 24's correspondent, Seema Gupta. So, Seema, as we were mentioning there, the Pope not presiding over Easter Mass, but he did come out on the balcony. So I'm sure the crowd was very excited to see that. What more can you tell us about how the Pope's doing and what's happening there today?
Well, to the 35,000 people that are reportedly at St. Peter's Square, definitely, I believe the highlight of this Easter day is to see Pope Francis appear on the balcony. He came out in his wheelchair, made the sign of the cross, blessing the people there with his hand, and appeared to be very happy to be there, and then passing on to someone else to do the actual reading of the Urbi et Orbi. Now, that's the message to the city of Rome and to the world. And for the last 12 years of his papacy, Pope Francis has been delivering that. It is a major message that's done every Easter and every Christmas, and one that is usually given by the Pope himself, in which he talks about the prayer for peace on Easter, and also highlights hotspots, war zones, sufferings in different parts of the world, praying for peace and praying for help for the most vulnerable in society. Now, that speech, though now being read out by someone delegated by the Pope, but it is written by Pope Francis, as was the homily for the Easter service. So clearly, the 88-year-old pontiff, having spent 5 weeks in hospital, in Rome's Gemelli Hospital, dealing with double pneumonia, he risked his life at several points during that stay. He could have died, is what the doctors have told us, but he survived. He's come out, and technically he is under doctor's orders for rest and recuperation for 2 months. We're only coming to 1 month now in that. He continues doing his respiratory physiotherapy as well as taking all his medications, but we have seen his presence in the lead up to Easter during this Holy Week. As you mentioned, he visited that prison in Rome, addressing a group of inmates. We saw him yesterday on Saturday. He wasn't at the Easter Vigil Mass, but he did come out to St. Peter's Basilica in silent prayer and greeting the pilgrims there. It's important for Pope Francis throughout his papacy to be close to the faithful. And clearly this was important to him, an important day in the Catholic calendar, a solemn but a celebration as well. And so he made the decision to appear today. Clearly a stubborn Pope, if you like. It was important for him to be present, and he is there at St. Peter's today.
Now, Seema, I want to ask you about another visitor who's in Rome this weekend. I'm talking about the U.S. Vice President, JD Vance. We know that he has been pressing for a meeting with the Pope. And we also know that the two have clashed in the past with the Trump administration's migrant policies. And as we said there, the Pope, championing migrants. So what more can you tell us about JD Vance and the comments with the Pope?
Well, we've finally got confirmation from the Vatican that this morning Mr. Vance was at Casa Santa Marta. That's the residence where the Pope stays. And they did have a short meeting in which they exchanged Easter greetings. So we do know that the American Vice President did meet the Pope this morning, just half an hour before he turned up at the balcony at St. Peter's Basilica. So that meeting has taken place. There was lots of speculation as to whether it would happen. We do know Mr. Vance, of course, had an extensive meeting talking about various issues at the Vatican yesterday with top Vatican diplomats. But now we do know that the two men, the Pope as well as JD Vance, have actually met at the Pope's private residence. But it was a brief meeting. And you're right about clashes in the past. Mr. Vance has made an interpretation of an ancient text in Catholic teaching to justify the Trump administration's decision on immigration, the decision to deport immigrants, and also their entire crackdown on the issue of immigration in the U.S. Now, at that time, and that was before before the Pope was hospitalized, Pope Francis made an unusual move to send a letter to U.S. Catholic bishops saying that this interpretation of that text was not exactly correct and that it was important to help the most vulnerable, those who are fleeing poverty and persecution. And that is part of the whole program of human dignity. So despite that clash, that meeting has taken place according to the Vatican.
Seema, thank you so much for updating us. We're going to have to leave it there. That's all we have time for. That's France 20.